So typically when a box shows up on this channel, it's something kind of fun, something that we can play with in here. Unfortunately, this box, while it does pertain to my mountain bike a little bit, it doesn't have anything to do with something I can put on it. It's something for me to put the mountain bike in to get to a trail. Long story short, it's, like I said earlier in the week, my least favorite bike to buy parts for is the car that is used to get those bikes and myself to places to ride bikes. It is 11 o'clock now. I'll be honest, I anticipate this taking all day. Every time I think something's only gonna take like a couple hours, usually that's not what happens. So I'm just gonna say that this will be all day. If you're not into this kind of stuff, maybe skip to like a few minutes from now in the video, or just skip this video entirely. The old drill's getting quite the workout. Comes out just like the Corrado did. One hour and 10 minutes in. One way that I like to gauge the success of the progress that I am making when doing mechanical things like this is basing it off of the amount of times that I've sworn and said I don't want to do this anymore, which has currently been 0. Things are going very smoothly. Back together. Not sure if it doesn't leak or not, but I only have one fender bolt left over, and not because I don't know where it goes. Total time, 3 hours and 47 minutes. I used to spend like all of my time working on cars. I owned 2 at a time with that motorbike as well, and I forced Angela to look for houses that had garages that could fit them all into it so that I could constantly be working on them on the weekend or after work. None of them turned out particularly good, and there was a lot of frustration working on them all the time. I can't help but feel like that's why, after a few years of constant letdowns with all my ideas and all my money sunk into them, that I finally decided to sidestep away from them and start messing with things like this that cost a lot less money. I was always able to kind of have a working, good final product versus what I was ever able to do with the car. Worst comes to worst, we can still say that this thing has a bucket of bolts yesterday to me riding it right now does not suck and is working great. No leaks, no overheating. I think my most expensive mountain bike part is solved. Okay, even though that did go smoother than I had originally anticipated, it truly did still kind of take all day. I put together a Q&A prompt, so we're gonna do that now. This Q&A is brought to you by Squarespace. Just kidding, it's not brought to you by Squarespace, but I do know that it's a little bit echoey in here. Obviously, there needs to be more in here, but we will record the audio separately through these headphones, which I hate the look of. There, doesn't that sound so much better? Question 1. What kind of shaving cream do you use on your legs? Do you prefer scented or unscented? I always used to use an Edge gel shaving cream. Scented was always a nice way to go. I haven't shaved my legs in 2 years, Nick. As your enjoyment of mountain bikes seems to be much more, and there's a slight shift in content, are you closer to investing more into mountain bike than road and gravel? I don't want to say that my enjoyment in mountain biking is more, it's just maybe a little more prominent on the channel now because I've been showing it. Yes, there's been more mountain bike content than there has been in the past, but that's mostly just because I don't have to commute to work. I can use the day to go ride mountain biking. It's a little more accessible now than it was before. Everything was such a tight time constraint when I was working full time that it was easier to spend time on the road or a gravel bike than it was to ride mountain bikes. But valid question, are you closer to investing more into mountain biking than road and gravel frames? Yes, but I promise as there's more and more content pushed out, you'll see that it will all kind of even out. I love road and I love mountain bikes. I love cars, I love motorbikes. There's so much to do and there's so much time now. Favorite tires for a modern classic mix of mostly road but with some mild gravel mixed in. Panaracer Pacella. I love that tire. I started gravel riding on that tire. I will continue to recommend that tire. What's really wrong with triples? So the problem I have with triples is teaching people how to use them and trying to get the chain line right. That's really the only thing. People get so confused. They hate the noise. They aren't sure what they're doing. Explaining it is tough. That's really probably the only thing. Also, I hate tuning front trailers. I'm just sort of bad at it. Will you ever try the 26-inch rear, 27.5 front mullet setup in the trail bike? I did. I rode it a couple times. I just didn't bring you guys along because I didn't have time. I will make a video with it eventually. What are your thoughts on clipless pedals? Do you enjoy them more than flats, or is it just a take it or leave it thing? I love clipless pedals. If I had it my way, every single one of my bikes would have clipless pedals on them. I would just have a shoe that goes with it that looks good everywhere. And those are hard to find. DZR makes a pair of shoes that I want. I was about to order them, but shipping was just like way too much for what they were. Why don't you wear gloves while mountain biking? I hate gloves. Now that you have the opportunity to daily upload and do YouTube full time, do you have any long-term projects coming up that we may see develop chapter by chapter? Example, welding and building your own frame and bike. I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to like schedule my day. Is there any long-term projects coming up that we may see develop by chapter? Yes. What are they? I don't know. I'm waiting for chapter 1 to start. Planning to cut the rear brake bridge off my fixed gear bike. I knew this would come up when I made that video. Should I chop it off completely or should I file out enough to fit my tires and a bit of muck? Maybe try filing it first. If that doesn't work, cut it out. It should be fine. What short-term goals or projects do you have for the channel on the way to a warehouse? I think for short-term goals, it would just mostly be like to be comfortable and be able to do all the things that I want to do without being super lavish about it. You know, whether it's getting a part or getting some new gear or like having an idea for a video that would be a trip that we could just make that happen. I would say that when Angela and I are looking at our next house past this one, it'll involve a very large, hopefully 2-story garage that could be like the intermediate between what the shed is here and what the warehouse will be. Is a suspension corrected fork that important if I want to make a gravel bike that rips on an old 26-inch frame that had a suspension fork on it? Okay, nobody is going to appreciate my answer here, but I don't think that a suspension corrected fork is worth anything at all if you don't care about it. Like if you really like the geometry of that bike with the suspension fork on it, then yes, you have to get a suspension corrected fork so that that bike retains the geometry that it has. But honestly, any drastic changes that I've done to any bike that has affected its geometry has not affected the ride to its detriment. So a 26-inch rigid fork thrown on there, as long as you're okay with the way it rides, is a-okay. And it's exactly what I would do. Is it what most people are going to advise? No. Can we expect some motorcycle content in the future? Yes. Every so often in the comments, someone will say like, oh, you should make a second channel for this, or like, you know, this isn't your normal content. I don't understand why it's here. But there's a reason that the channel is not called Eric Spinney's Cycling Channel, or like, it doesn't have anything to do with cycling in the title. And it's because it's Spindat, the vlog channel. I just so happen to really like bikes. So I'm not going to go out of my way to make like a second channel or a third channel for individual topics or areas of interest. So yeah, didn't mean to get so aggressive there. What bike would you ask for if Bill Gates paid for it? It's that steel dual suspension all mountain bike. If you ask me this question tomorrow, it would be different again. Okay, this will be the last one, and honestly, it could probably be its own video, but can you talk more about the wall-mounted bike storage you have in your house? It looks very cool. Okay, I knew I wanted to have some of the like fancier bikes that I own inside because it's just safer storage than what the shed is. But they do take up a pile of space when they're on the floor. They're all kind of like, you know, they really push in and kind of encroach onto any space that's available. I had seen like an Instagram ad of these bike holders that like let the bike lean out a little bit, and they had 3 set up. That was immediately where my mind went, and Angela ordered them because she didn't want the office to look terrible. And I think it was probably a worthwhile endeavor to go down. So these are just available on Amazon. There's like plate here that's just bent in a way to hold the pedal, and then 2 bent plates to support the wheels. They are a complete and utter pain in the ass to put up. I kind of thought at one point it might be like cool to have the desk be here and that the bikes would be the background, but I didn't really like the way that looked. So I'll make a way better like office introduction video probably next week, and we could talk about all the things that I want to do with the office and where it's at now. Okay, that's going to be the end of this Q&A. And for the rest of the evening, I'm just going to fulfill all of the orders that you guys put through when I made the video of me fulfilling orders through here, which is just a really meta, funny way for more orders to come through the Spin Dad store.